What is going on, guys? This is Hero Talk, and this is part 3 of the 4chan leak. So, in the last two videos, I had the Doctor Strange and Guardians Volume 2 leaks, and now we have the SpiderMan Homecoming leaks. As I said in the other videos, this isn't confirmed to be true or legit, but it seems very likely to me. So maybe this is true. In my next videos, I will feature the next leaks. This will contain every Phase 3 movie that comes out. But let's just begin. So, Spider-Man Homecoming. The movie has lower stakes in relation to other MCU movies and also a relatively lower budget. What comes to my mind right here is just the street level of Spider-Man, a street level hero of Spider-Man. He is just a smaller character in the whole MCU. He cares about the street crimes and don't has to do much with this intergalactic dangers, which the other Avengers are confronted with. So let's carry on. And the movie centers on Peter Parker struggling to balance his private life and his superhero life. As Peter, he's trying to ask his longtime crush Liz Allen for homecoming dance and fitting in with being the new kid in a prestigious school he got in as a scholarship. While as Spider-Man, he's handling his first real supervillain, the Vulture. So this sounds great to me because it's great to hear that the movie will focus on Peter Parker's high school life, that his personal problems are a focus in the movie, that a main point will be his problems with girls, in this case Liz Allen. And here comes also the title, so Homecoming gets the meaning for him trying to go out with Liz in the homecoming dance. And yes, I like very this classic idea actually, of Peter trying to balance his life as a normal school kid, but also as a supervillain. That's just so iconic for the role, for the character of Peter Parker, and that's why so many people can identify with him. And obviously the Vulture will have the role as the first real supervillain for Spider-Man. But let's carry on. Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, is a military scientist who creates a wingsuit using the alien technology from the Avengers and gets fired from it. He eventually learns he needs it to live, steals it, and goes on a rampage, killing his former superiors and trying to find a cure. This is just the normal story of Adrian Toomes, because he is a very smart scientist, but he isn't very appreciated by his bosses, and that's why he also struggles with his life. And yes, his wingsuit is actually built by alien technology, the Chitauri technology that remained on Earth by the attack of the Chitauri in the Avengers movie. Him killing his former superiors is also very classic for his personal story. Let's carry on. The Tinkerer is a minor villain, a former Stark Industries inventor who's supplying crooks with cutting-edge weaponry and is forced to help the Vulture. He gives weapons to Shocker and his gang, who are opening antagonists. And here are some things I already expected. But it's interesting also to hear that the Tinkerer works in Stark Industries, because here's also the connection to Tony Stark. Maybe he'll get to know something about this and try to tell Peter, and that's his role in the movie. Who knows? But yes, and this pretty much confirms the theory that is currently very famous, that the Tinkerer is helping the Vulture to build his suit. But as we learn here, he doesn't do it as a volunteer. He is forced by the Vulture. And what is also very interesting is that he also helps the Shocker and his gang. And I don't know if he is doing this as a volunteer. But what is also very interesting is that the Shocker and his gang are opening antagonists. So that at the beginning of the movie, we will have the Shocker and his gang as antagonists. And this is just a great introduction in this movie, because the Shocker and his gang aren't very, very, very dangerous villains to Spider-Man. They're kind of easier to fight as the Vulture, for example. And these are more like street level villains, bank robbers and stuff like that. Just thieves on a higher level. And that's just good to see that they will be featured at the beginning to just show how Spider-Man interacts in New York as a hero. But let's carry on. Zendaya really is playing Mary Jane, but that was a late addition from the latest script rewrite. At one point, she was Michelle, an original character. She's Peter's classmate who has a crush on him, and they end up going to homecoming together. Like him, she's attending school on a scholarship. She'll be the main love interest in the sequels. And that's very interesting. I already mentioned in another video that she is called Michelle, but lately this was changed into her being Mary Jane, actually. This is very interesting because she has actually a crush on Peter and not the other way around, because normally this Peter who has a crush on someone and struggles to get her, but now it is actually Mary Jane trying to get Peter. And this is a major spoiler actually for some people, because they are going to homecoming dance together. So we already get to know that Peter will fail in asking out Liz Allen. I don't know if Peter is really accepting the fact that he's going out with MJ instead of Liz. And we get to know here actually that Liz won't be his crush for a long time, although she was a long time crush, but she won't be in future, because it says that that Mary Jane will be the main love interest in the sequels. But let's carry on. Flash was also going to an original character, Manuel, but was made into Flash in the same rewrite that made Michelle into MJ. There is no Jameson or Daily Bugle in the movie. Oh, and that's too bad, actually, because I loved Jameson in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and how many of you did. But what I actually think we will get to see in Spider-Man Homecoming and the sequels is maybe Peter working as a pizza delivering man, because we saw Peter Parker in Civil War wearing a pizza t-shirt. So maybe his job next to school will be pizza deliverance. Who knows? But let's continue. Tony Stark's role in the movie is pretty minor, and he doesn't appear as Iron Man. He gives Peter some life advice when it looks like he can't deal with his first supervillain. And that's also what I expected him to do, actually. It also was confirmed that he won't be very long in the movie. And it's said that he doesn't appear as Iron Man, because I would have loved to see, just for a few minutes maybe, how Iron Man and Spider-Man are fighting in a team. But thinking of the events of Civil War, I can imagine that as Tony is pretty much destroyed, his personality is broken after a civil war, and that's why he maybe concentrates on Peter, because he's something like a son to him, and he really likes this boy and wants him to grow as a hero, and that's why he's giving him advice. And let's come to the last point. Stark mentions he's keeping the Accords off of Peter's back because he's only dealing with minor street crimes, but might not be able to protect him if he keeps branching out to dealing with supervillains. And that's very interesting because obviously Spider-Man was a little addition to Civil War, and he isn't really considered to be an Avenger, so he was left out of the Accords. And here's saying that now he is considered to be in the Accords. And yes, but it says here that Spider-Man is dealing with street crimes, as I already mentioned. But apparently he might fight more supervillains in the future, which makes also sense for sequels. So yes, tell me what you guys think about this in the comments. That's also the first time that I'm reading this, so let me know what you think about this. So yes, if you enjoyed this video, just leave a like. As I said, leave a comment. Comments are always appreciated. And subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my next leak videos.